Hello again, folks. Steve here, and today I wanted to talk about how, from what I can see, lynching is alive and well. So let's kill it, at least in our lives, because this cannot surely be helpful for our inner Genie paths, now can it? Our peace, our quality of life, our logical thinking, our spirituality, whatever we want to call it. And you know what? It's rampant, and it's astounding to me, really. I was talking to somebody recently who I know fairly well, and this guy I would say is quite intelligent. I mean, he's well read and everything else. And the topic of this George Floyd thing came up, and how there was a cop allegedly strangled him by putting his knee on his neck, and so on and so on, and the black guy died. And then there was just rampant craziness, burning cities down and all kinds of stuff across America and other places. And this guy told me that he knew for certainty that the cop was guilty. And I told him, I said, you know what? In our society, our tradition, we have a tradition of innocent until proven guilty. We have to look at all the facts. But to him, no, don't have to. I saw it on CBC television or something like that, and I could tell you specifically that this guy killed the black guy. I know that. You know what? As far as I'm concerned, that is a lynch mentality. Because what is a lynching? From what I understand it, a lynching is mob, judge, jury, and executioner. It's like, you know what? We know we don't have to look at the evidence just because everybody said so and it looks like it. We are going to throw the book at this guy. That is a lynching. Lynching is a mob which already typically has a predetermined sort of bigotry towards the person or the type of person. In this case, a white cop. There's already a massive bigotry towards that type of person. So the minute there's even a hint that he might be guilty, let's just throw out any other evidence and go after the guy. Absolutely pulverize the guy, destroy him, and let's exonerate anybody who burns cities down because they don't like this white cop. That's lynch mob, man. That is absolutely lynch mob. Let's not let ourselves get caught up in a lynch mob. And we've been told for the longest time, all of my life I've been told lynching is terrible. It's a terrible thing to get involved in, lynching. And here was somebody that I know fairly well who was buying into the whole lynch mob. And furthermore, not only that, but the lynch mob, of course, was being fed by the propaganda, because that's how lynch mobs get going, after all, is people fall for it based on whatever. And, the autopsies didn't show that what he was saying was true. But even though apparently the propaganda that he was watching told him that the autopsies showed that, which as far as I know they didn't. And the thing is, when things are complicated, and first of all, before I even say anything more, I'm not in favor of cop tactics at all. And anybody, I've written 7 books, I've done hundreds of speeches, I've done videos, probably getting close to 1,500 to 2,000 videos now. A lot of conversation. I've walked 8,000 miles dedicated, 8,000 kilometers, 5,000 miles rather, dedicated to freedom, speaking to anybody who would listen about freedom. So I'm not in favor of coercion of any form. However, there's also a side of me that's pragmatic and stands for justice. And the idea that you employ somebody to do a job that I disagree with, and that yes, he steps out of bounds, but you don't lynch him. You have to let the process play out, at least in our own minds. We can't allow ourselves to jump to conclusions. And this tendency to lynch, of course, goes many, many ways in our lives. It goes all over the place because it's general tendency that we have sometimes to jump to conclusions based on our bigotry, based on our religiosity, based on our preconceived notions and all of that. We have to be willing to say, okay, what is truth here? What do I know? See, in my case, in this conversation that I was having, this guy had assertions. He had the assertion that the cop was guilty. I didn't have an assertion, but not that I'm better than anybody else, but I didn't have an assertion. What I was saying is, please don't jump to conclusions and lynch the guy. Don't add to this lynch mob, because we don't know. We don't even know if this George Floyd was killed. Do we know for sure that this wasn't a staged event? We don't know. We weren't there. We saw what we saw, and bear in mind, most of what we saw was through the lens of the lying mainstream media, who has been in support of wars that have killed thousands of people, been in support of atrocities, cover-ups, outright lies. You know, it's illegal for you to be in contact or in possession of WikiLeaks information, says the mainstream media. But we're allowed to read it for you. Outright lie. Lots and lots and lots of them. So why would we believe this all of a sudden? Especially when it so conveniently came about that like the day after Biden was nominated as the candidate for the Democrats, and of course Antifa said that if anybody but Bernie got, or Bernie's followers said that anybody other than Bernie got in, they were going to burn down what it was, Minneapolis, right? And like the day after, and I shouldn't laugh about this, but it's so coincidental. The day after Biden gets nominated, so that means Bernie's not going to be nominated, this happens and Minneapolis starts burning. Very, very interesting. But let's not jump to conclusions without knowing what we're talking about, right? Why? Why? This puts us into the mob. It puts us into the mainstream main think, group think. Let's use our God-given faculties to think these things through, to feel them out, to suss them out, to see what's going on. And once again, this is one example. I use examples. I use mainstream examples periodically so I get an extra 10 views on my 15 views, right? Hey, I admit it. There's a part of what I do which is clickbaity. No question about it. The main suggestion that I have, once again, mostly for myself, is to not jump to conclusions, to look at things objectively and discern based on reason and evidence, not based on propaganda that we've been showing on TV, especially not that. I think this could be helpful for getting our actions straight in our inner genie paths. See if you're getting great chatting. If you like what I'm doing, please like, subscribe, and share. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye-bye for now.